Hi, I'm Caitlin Mawhinney and I'm the set and costume designer.
Hi, and I'm Laura O'Connor and I'm the Wardrobe Supervisor.
And we're doing Wizard of Oz in the park. So this is the Oz gatekeeper. So we meet him over at the monument. And the monument is so big that you need a really big costume to read in that setting. So what I really wanted to do with this costume was exaggerate all of the angles and all of the sort of parts of fashion that you might have, sleeves, shirt collars, and just make them bigger than you would ever wear in real life. And then I also, while we might have played with the colours and the expectations of some of the other characters, I feel like Oz is where people really have an expectation for what they want. So I really wanted to give people that really vibrant green, something really playful and something really fun.
Yeah, so and then it's my job to make that come to life. So that involves like sourcing and buying all the fabric. So we've got some different kind of set of fabrics here. So for this beautiful angular jacket, it needed something quite solid to sort of hold the shape. And then Katie Duxbury, who's our wonderful cutter and maker, has experimented making toiles to get this right shape. So there was different kinds of, we've got little concertinas of different
kinds. We had
of,
like 2 different versions of everything and then could see what looked better on the body.
And then so it holds this lovely shape. So we've got this quite solid sort of glittery fabric, but the other consideration was that glitter didn't get all over everything. So we've worked to get these fabrics so they tonally look right together and then they do what they need to do as well. So we've got this great sort of stretchy pleated fabric, and then he's got wonderful angular trousers which are being worked on right now, and then that's made out of this other green here, so he's got that other element with him as well. And he'll have a few other bits on him as well. And
it's really important when you're doing like a monochromatic, is that the right word? Monochromatic costume, that actually you're layering different textures and different variations of those colours. And we also find in theatrical costumes what tends to really power on stage is something with a bit of shine or a bit of glitter. So you can see in all of this, every fabric has some form of glittery shine to it, which when you're on stage just really jumps out in a way that sort of a matte fabric would not.
So next we have the Wicked Witch of the West. So I'll hand you over to Caitlin to talk about that.
So a lot of the characters, I really wanted to feel like they were born from the park, like they really came from the earth and the connection to them. So there's some characters, if you come to see it, that are quite floral or feel like they've come from the greenery. And then the Wicked Witch, I feel like everyone has this expectation of a green witch very much. Whereas we've got Wicked out and the original films where they very much made the witch green, but we wanted to try something a bit different and sort of separate ourselves from that road. So I really wanted the witch to feel like a thorn, like a bramble that you'd come across in the park, something sharp and pointy and a little bit dangerous. So all of her costume is sort of following that thorn, and there's a lot of set as well, come see the show, which also follows these shapes and creates treachery through these sort of thorny spikes. And I really loved putting sort of an ombre, which you can see in here.
So we've got a little sample of that. So this is the lovely soft drapey crepe that we started with, and then what we do is dip the end of it, so to get an ombre, like you say, so it's dark, isn't it, and then it goes up.
So it just gives like another sort of depth as subtly the colours start to change as you get to the edges, like her black magic is coming out of all her extremities.
Yeah. So we've had a wonderful maker, Anne Preston, making this. It's to get it looking how you want and all these angles and things. So she'll have like spikes on her, and this is her brilliant hat. And then she's going to have like long pointy fingers, and then all this ombre throughout. So she is very impactful when you see her. Yeah.
So we get to meet Dorothy's 3 friends, one of which is the Cowardly Lion, and we've had a lot of fun with this costume. I get really giddy every time we do fittings. So the idea of this again is that everything is larger than life, everything's exaggerated, and actually this was the first costume that I started with because I just had this vision of a lion with a giant tutu mane, and I worked everything out from there. So I really wanted the lion to be really warm and playful and really cute, just something you want to like grab and hold and hug. And I really think we've achieved that with how we've layered up the fabrics. Again, working with quite bright colours because when we're in the park, subtle doesn't read. So we're really just exaggerating everything. And I sort of feel like the lion feels like she's maybe escaped from a circus. Maybe she was part of the clowning group. And that's sort of what I've made up as a backstory.
Yeah, so you've got your lovely influence here of that, haven't you? So what Caitlin would do is I would get the design from, you would show me the design and then also your reference, and we sort of talk about what all these textures are and how we go about that. And then we also have to think about the practical elements, so how Helen can wear that, can she do the action she needs to do, how we get the lovely shape of the legs, so she's got some great,
massive,
really frilly sort of trousers underneath to create this effect. And then we've got these frills all the way down her legs. So she's got layers and layers of these frills in rows, and then we're affectionately calling these whatsits. So we've got little whatsits. So the team have been, Roisin has been working really hard on making whatsits and frills to do layers of that, and it has such a great effect. It looks fab on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every fabric we've gone for is sort of trying to buy into that sort of furry feeling without being like fake fur. It just gives the effect of fur.
Yeah. So something nice and soft she can wear, but it has a really good texture and a good colour, and it works well. You just want
to grab her and give her a good squeeze. And this is just 3 of the costumes. We've got loads more costumes that are all being worked on in the costume department right now. How many people have we got down there?
So we've got 5 people making, so 1 outside maker, and then we've got 4 people in the department, as well as myself, working on everything at the moment. So they're all busy sewing down there.
Every time I go in the room, everyone's really busy and really dedicated.
Yeah.
And you've sort of given everyone sort of a focus of a costume to work on.
Yeah, so Katie is our cutter, and she sort of cuts everything and then sets everyone off, and then everyone is working on like main costumes. So Amy is currently working on the scarecrow, and there's a lot of sewing on that, and then Roisin has been working really hard on the lion. Katie is currently working on the Tin Man, and then the Osgard that you saw earlier, and there's the Wicked Witch still to come, and there's Glinda, and there's Flying Monkey
and Munchkin.
So a lot is being made. So yeah, everyone's been working very hard on that now.
And I think every costume we've got, bar maybe one pair of but even the shorts have been modified. Every piece of costume that you're going to see has been worked on by the costume team and been custom made for this show, which is crazy. That's a crazy amount of work.
So it's a lot of work. So we talked about our first meeting was in April, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we've been on this at this point, and the costumes are still being worked on 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Just talking and looking at samples, and Laura sends me fabric samples in the post, so we've got a whole book of every sample that we've ever looked at for each costume and done tests with. Yeah,
so it might be like it evolves, doesn't it? So we sort of, I sample things and like you say, send them, and you decide and we see what works. So we gather things together basically, and then we like try and keep a track on everything and make these little files just to sort of see, and like you say, how we dye things and what we use.
And some things you get it right the first time and it's really straightforward, and some things you end up going through 5-6 different kinds of fabric because they look different when they're on the body, or they don't dye right, or when you put it next to a different fabric they have different effects. So there's lots of, you can make decisions when you're doing drawings. And then when you're actually playing with things in real life and putting things on bodies and seeing fabrics, you've got to then be really flexible and just working with what is happening in the moment. You've got to have a degree of being like, this is the vision, but how are we actually achieving that in real life?
And we think about the park a lot as well, because the park is a character in itself, so we think about the weather and the practicalities of it as well, and the practicalities of people getting changed very fast as well, so that all has an effect. So like you said, it evolves, doesn't it? So we sort of keep tracking everything.
Everyone's
and see how
got
it's
a
going.
costume emergency raincoat.
Yeah, that's true. It's all,
Thank you so much for listening to us talking about how we've come up with the costumes for this show. Please join us at the Williamson Park to see Wizard of Oz.
From the 18th of July till the 24th of August. Thank you.
It's going to be such a good show.